instead, let's have a look at new data that comes from the Levelling Up Department, which shows that home planning applications in England have fallen to the lowest level in 16 years.
Yeah, in 2022, local authorities had fewer requests to build new buildings since before 2006. Now, this comes as rough sleeping is on the rise for the first time in 5 years.
Now, experts say that the lack of new applications means that the housing shortfall is just going to get worse over the coming years. Property expert Kristina Castellina joins us now. A very good morning to you, Kristina. I tell you what struck me about this story, and we can talk about, what's happened to planning in a moment. But this idea that rough sleeping is on the increase, does that mean we are building less and less houses, not just in the private sector, but in the social sector as well, and we are going to have a situation where more and more people are simply going to be made homeless, because there are more people than there are homes?
Absolutely. This is really, really sad news. I think more than ever, we need to be building. In terms of the homeless situation, it's really sad, and I think there's so many multiple different reasons as to why this is happening and why we're not seeing these properties being built. I think the first one, which is quite obvious, is quite clearly the cost of materials has shot up. Certainly after COVID, we saw that massive rise in materials. Labour costs have gone up, and we're in this tricky situation, which I really see this myself. I live up north. I live in Liverpool. I invest the majority on the Fylde coast, which is Blackpool and that whole strip. Now, for me, the issue that I have is it would cost me more in materials and labour than actually what the property would be worth once I've purchased it and I've gone through that timely, lengthy, and quite honestly frustrating planning application. It's so lengthy, it's so timely, and it's still so unknown for so many people that I think actually if we went out to people that in the last 2 years they've put in a planning application and we said, right, fill in this questionnaire, tell me quite honestly, was that a positive experience? Was it negative? Did it come in on time? Unfortunately, I think that the majority of people would say that was horrendous. I don't ever want to do that again. So we're losing people straight off the bat because people come into this thinking, I'm going to make a difference. I want to build properties. And then you're just up against obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. So there's so many people that come away from planning with scar wounds that say, I just don't want to do that again, because, a lot of the time as well, they've spent so much time and so much money, they think, I can't do this again.
Yeah, but there's a big problem here, Kristina, isn't there? Because it's one thing to say the planning process is a frustrated one and we need to streamline it, make it easier, make it more effective. But that then doesn't remove the first problem you raised, that actually the materials are too big to make this a viable concern, that even if planning was straightforward, you still can't afford to do it.
Yeah, and it's so area dependent. It will change. It will be so varied across the country. Now, the good thing is materials have started to come down, but it's still a problem. It's still an issue. We've also got an issue of there's a massive shortage of workers. So you've still got, a shortage of builders, which means that they can charge more because there's not as many of them. There's so many different moving parts to this.